We gonna get into the prediction for the upcoming November 17th scrap between Shakur Stevenson and Edwin De Los Santos. All right. So let's get into the tail on the tape. So we gonna start with Shakur Stevenson, the bro, skilled fighter. I mean, phenomenal fighter, man. Like he's always getting better. He's learning. He's a fucking computer. I would put Shakur in the same boat. Like when it comes to like the defense and the way he picks up on things and Floyd and Bud. You know, he's in that group. He's in that bag right there. But anyway, tell of the tape. Shakur Stevenson. He's at 20 wins, no losses, 10 wins by knockout. Uh, he has a 50% KO ratio. So, you know, Shakur Stevenson is one of these dudes that uh, he's not known for his punching power, but he's known for his defensive prowess, his sick cat-like reflexes, his insane distance control. As far as footwork goes, in his own sense, he has good footwork. You know, footwork can mean many things though. Like there's some people, some boxers that got footwork where they know how to jump in and out of distance really good. You got some that can bounce around the ring and turn at the drop of a dime and, you know, pivot. You got them kind of fighters too. But in this situation, in this sense, Shakur Stevenson has pretty good footwork, pretty decent. He knows how to get in and out of range really good using those feet, springs back, springs forward. Just watch him. You'll see what I'm talking about. There's like little subtle steps that he does and takes step forward, step back. It's almost rhythmic. It's almost like a rhythm watching him do it. And it's a joy to watch Shakur. Man. I know a lot of people say he's corny, he's a boring fighter, but to me, I enjoy watching him, man. I enjoy watching him. But anyway, Shakur Stevenson is 26 years old. He's a southpaw, 5'7" in height, 68-inch arm reach. Doesn't have the longest of arms, but this is pretty. This is like what you get in the lightweight. A lot of lightweights have that kind of reach, 69, 70 inches, you know, stuff like that. So for him, that's about average. So let's go to Edwin De Los Santos. He stands at 16 wins, 1 loss, 14 wins by knockout. Pretty big puncher, 87% KO ratio. 24 years old, 5'8" with a 70-inch arm reach. So he's younger than Shakur Stevenson. He's taller and he has a longer arm reach than Shakur Stevenson. All right. So how do I see this fight playing out, man? First of all, Edward De Los Santo, very awkward fighter, very slick. Especially in that Adorno fight, you know, he was in and out with his jab, decent speed. You know, like I said, he got good power. He wasn't able to get the knockout in the last fight, ironically, which is kind of strange because, you know, they say he's this big puncher. But then Shakur's last fight, he's not a big puncher, but he stopped the dude. So that's what I'm telling you about boxing, man. You just never know. Just never know sometimes. But very awkward fighter. He doesn't really seem like a real volume puncher like that. He's a slick fighter. That could be very deceptive too. He's a deceptive fighter where like he can disguise his power. Well, you think like he's kind of like trying to evade you, but he'll come with a nice counter and crack you with it. He has good counter skills too. So you got Shakur and this guy Edwin De Los Santos that are very good counter punchers. Edwin De Los Santos, I like his footwork. I think he has pretty good footwork too. Um, Pretty decent jab for what it is. A nice body. He likes to stab his jab to the body. Now, I think this fight is gonna be rather interesting because, you know, it depends on how Edward brings it. Because Edward can also he can press the action if he wanted to. But he against Adorno, he was much more of a boxer in that fight. With Shakur, I think he's probably going to try to walk Shakur down at some point in that fight because I think he really don't like Shakur. So he gonna probably go out there and try to prove a point. And that might be a big mistake. If he goes in there and he tries to like steamroll over Shakur, I think he's gonna get countered and beat up all night. Or I dare to say this, he might possibly even get knocked out. You know, listen, Shakur, he showed some thunder in his last fight. We don't know if moving forward after that Yoshino fight, if Shakur his power is really digging into his division, we'll have to see. But I think he could possibly hurt Edwin De Los Santos. So don't be surprised in this fight you see Edwin De Los Santos get hurt. And there's even a possibility that Shakur Stevenson could get hurt in this fight. This could be a first for him to really get wobbled in a fight. This could be it right here. But because I don't think he's fought anybody as slick and as awkward as Edwin De Los Santos. I can't really think of anybody that he's fought that's as slick. And the same thing with Edwin De Los Santos. He's never fought anybody with that kind of a boxing skill. So both of these dudes, I think, is the first for each other. That's why I think this is kind of interesting. Uh, if Shakur presses the action, it has to be very cautious. It has to be cautious. I ain't gonna lie, man. I think this is gonna be a little different for Shakur. I think ultimately towards the end, Shakur is gonna figure him out. But I think early on, I think Edwin De Los Santos is gonna give Shakur some issues, man. His movement, that weird, awkward movement, is gonna. Remember I told you guys about fighters, man. When you got fighters that slick and got reflexes, a lot of times they have some problems with people that's almost like them. I'm not saying that Edwin De Los Santos is in the same skills category as him. I'm saying like some of the things that they do as boxers, like move around and dip to the left, dip to the right, jab and get out. Like Shakur does that. So, we'll have to see. This is an interesting clash. I think this is probably going to be more competitive than the Frank Martin fight, to be honest. I think this is probably more of a dangerous, tougher fight for Shakur Stevenson. Now, if Shakur goes in there and makes it look easy, bro, y'all got to give him his props, man. Y'all got to give him his props. To be fair, Edwin De Los Santos ain't really fought that many people anyway, but he's a good runner up, man. So we got to give him his flowers, man. The dude could crack. He's slick. He seems tough and durable. So we'll see what happens, man. But my prediction for this fight, I see this fight probably is gonna be like a chess match. Probably the first 4 rounds, it's gonna be a lot of jabbing, a lot of moving around. I think eventually De Los Santos is gonna probably have a sense of false confidence, and he's gonna feel like he can walk Shakur down, and then that's when all of the magic gonna start, and Shakur gonna start piecing him up even more, peppering him with jabs, stabbing him to the body, lefts, and I think he gonna probably end up coasting to a really good, healthy, unanimous decision. I think it's gonna probably be a good 8 rounds to maybe 4. I said I get that shit 8-4, man. For Shakur Stevenson to win by decision. But in between, this you might see Shakur get hurt in this fight, and then we'll see how he faces adversity by getting hurt. Also, we might see for the first time Shakur, as sharp as he is, you might see him early on in the fight miss a few shots because of the awkwardness that Shakur is going to have to adjust to of Edwin De Los Santos. But eventually, I'd say around 6 or 5, he gonna start heating up. He gonna start figuring out Edwin De Los Santos, man. He's not hard to figure out, but he's awkward. You gotta still figure him out. These dudes were awkward, but it's not hard. For somebody with the caliber of skill that Shakur has, he'll figure him out. So I got Shakur Stevenson winning this fight by super duper unanimous decision, with possibly getting hurt and also possibly hurt Edwin De Los Santos in this fight. Don't be surprised if he hurts De Los Santos somewhere between round 7 and 8. You heard it here first. All right, so my prediction, I'm going with Shakur Stevenson unanimous decision. I just think he's gonna be his defense is too slick. Uh, Only thing Shakur gets hit with rights though, straight rights. I noticed that too. Believe it be straight rights because you get hit by Yoshino with some of them straight rights. So maybe if De Los Santos his team can capitalize on that if they paid attention. Because I know Shakur and his team already paid attention. I would go as far as to say Shakur and his team already got this dude and would let De Los Santos already figured out or somewhat figured out through his awkwardness and all. But we'll have to find out in November. Anyway, this is Rebel Life Boxing. Drop a comment, man. Let me know who you got and why. I love y'all. Catch y'all later on the next one. And I'm out.